Hi everybody, I forgot to tell you, I wanted to mention this dream that I had. It wasn't quite last night, it is, okay, so right now I sleep on the couch. I have been for the past year and a half, and when everybody else wakes up in the house, I go to upstairs, and then if I need more sleep, then I sleep there until it's formal time to wake up. So between that transitionary time of really waking up, I had this dream, and it was actually quite sad. I was recalling it on the way to parking over. It is 4:56 p.m., which I think when we closed out the previous reading, it was already 4:32. Anyway, the descending and the ascending part of times is what it's trying to tell me. So I feel like I needed to go ahead and share this with you because I'm about to take my walk. That it's important to transition between the heaven and hell aspects. That it allows us to find the in-between in our material plane, in the pentacles energy, our earthly plane, to ground both energies to create harmony in the knowledge of both. And that's why it's just important to see all of that. So 1:43 on the clock. How nice. Look at all these numbers coming through. Anyway, they're messages. They're hidden messages from the angels. If you find the resonance in them, go for it and look them up. If not, if you're not into that, then don't do it. I'm not trying to convince you of anything otherwise, just telling you what my experience is, and know that I carry more than one energy with me. So my ancestry's energy with me, as do you, whether or not you realize it. I mean, it's been a full year since a rotation of several transformations, and take it for what it is. Just wanted to throw it out there. But I guess I feel like maybe you're feeling some kind of annoyance in me as well, because I'm recalling my dream, and I think it's turning a pitch in my tonality. So I apologize. It's authentic, and it's not meant to stay there. So what I wanted to go ahead and tell you is the dream. Okay. The dream was, I was riding a bike, and I don't know how I got to this. This is kind of all fragmented here, okay? But I ended up somehow taking on like a large family, a group of people, almost like a tourist ride. I was the vehicle to move people along, and I was trying to get people from one place to another, kind of showcasing the journey, like that's there, this, trying to get people acquainted in the abundance of the surroundings. And so people were very willing to go on it, but once they got on it, they realized that although they could recognize my journey as a truth, indications of abundance in certain areas, that it became too exhausting for them to even just go on the journey. That once I took them to their destination point, in fact, like we were close to there, they wanted to be dropped off, and then before I realized when I was dropping them off that I just crossed an intersection, and they wanted to be let off because there was a formal crossing guard with a whistle and all trying to cue me into moving further. But I didn't realize that the drop-off point wasn't really a drop-off point, that they made it so they wanted to get up and go. So I was just kind of like shook, like it was just weird because I was doing the work and they were just going for the ride, and there was no giving back. You know what I mean?
This tells me something. Feeling compelled to change the channels to fit your vibe is something that we do when we encounter a dissonance. When you part from a situation or person, regardless of it being a mutual choice, it is meant to show you that your path warrants independent movement. While I felt the need to convey value, I was in no need to convince people or the universe out of their current truths. My agents of change were a mirror I could easily look at, and rather than facing the obvious discord, I could look at the truths as parallel and simultaneous in flow. The universe is intimate in defending what's right, but also not personal in its offense. So, when we look at the discord, it is only but a moment that serves for us to find traction and growth in another area that supports it. For me, it's not as simple as black and white. We find the different hues in the middle that create impression, and the more we flow with that, we are able to create more depth in, let's say, an image absent of color. So there's something very nostalgic about black and white film. It cues to simpler times and the resourcefulness of doing with what you have available. It doesn't stop the motion in the picture to be formed. It's magical what can be created from obstinate forces so long as we choose to move with its message rather than staying alongside its energy. In other words, stagnant energy is meant to propel us into a new approach.
They just went on the ride.
So, if we are called to approach with a different attitude, perhaps we need to sleep on things for a bit, allow for time and space to recreate and rebuild an element or concept in our lives that was either destroyed, marred, or became absent. In due time, what could ordinarily be felt as a lacking is resurrected and rectified as a monument of discovery. That in this journey, the sacrifice is letting go of the perception that we have no control, when our control is the free will to surrender to what seems to stand in our way. Perhaps when we face these obstacles, we can come to understand them and navigate around or even past them. We can recognize them as signs to karmically support our endeavors by building resilience.
A certain message. I was gonna head back, and I was telling everybody to come on to aboard, and they're like, no, it's okay, right? They were just like, they were not with it. They were not with the program. And I had to accept that. And I offered to go back and get the car and bring it forth. And they're like, yeah, that's good, But that was kind of depressing for me, that on the way back, I was realizing that the weight was lighter. Those burdens were left as honored. And it was no longer a dead weight to me, but it felt kind of empty as well. And I just went with it, but then I don't think that there was any agreement as to whether or not I was going to come back for them, because I realized in journeying outwards, like, it didn't even take 2 pedals out to be like, you know what, I'm doing the work, and they're getting exhausted because of the work that I'm doing. Like, how crazy is that? And that was what happened. And I think that was trying to tell me something here. Although it may feel like that's just sad, But I think the more practical way to look at things is that, some people don't want to do the work. Some people don't want to do all of that work. They just want to do like something that'll kind of ease their pains as they move along. It's almost practical yet aimless in its delivery. And I think inversely, some people may see that to my journey.
But I have to lay opinions to rest, including my own preconceptions, as I'm told to follow through and reside with the facts that Spirit presents to me.
I know where I'm going, and it may not appear to be so in fruition. Like, I know that I might get kickback for this, paralleling myself to biblical times, but all of us do that. Even in the sermons, the homilies of religious figures, that they ground the energy from ancient times to current, to bridging that gap, seeing the parallel in it. And I can understand, as far as building Noah's Ark, people think of it as like freaking crazy. He had to build it, and he built something. He had to keep going with it, trying to manage it solo, trying to orchestrate this huge thing that is way above him. And people are just like constantly, not supporting him. And how day by day, as he went through with his own inner strength, that it built resilience to follow through. And I think that's an important piece that we need to look at, that sometimes riding a bike doesn't feel like it's just riding a bike. It's not that simple. It's putting one foot in front of the other, cycling through with the cycles of life, and feeling that burden, the burden of like this void, just kind of cycling through it. Like, it's a process.
It's only a quarter of the process within the wheel of fate, sitting at 10, as resilience is about undying spirit, the wand's energy, a quarter of the suits. So when you observe the rotations of the wheel while you're put in challenges pertaining to the tens of the minor arcana, that you can see your abilities within the Sun card sitting at 19, which boils down to 10 in numerology. When you focus on the Sun card energy, you essentially have a hand at the wheel to make the most out of your turning points.
Process of releasing transgressions and to allow for the transformation process to come to full circle, to enabling that. Remember in previous readings we talked about how the cocoon status sometimes doesn't always reach fruition, that there are external factors or whatever factors that are conflicting that don't enable the birthing process to occur, that there's almost like a miscarriage, misalignment. When we think about the words miscarriage, we're looking at the lack of that chariot energy of follow through, right? That can be a very sad thing. Whatever the case may be, in our past perceptions of failure, or even the labeling of failure, whether that be energetically or confronted on a physical plane, don't let it allow you to lose traction. Keep going one foot in front of the other, and you're going to close your cycles. You're going to transform. You're not in a hamster wheel. Yeah, 11:22 on the clock. So I think that is the most essential piece in all of this. Yeah, I think that's it. All right. Thanks very much for stopping by. I just saw 234 on the timing of the CD play, but I thought that was important, as well as I believe our angels and spirit. Okay, so I hope that helps you. I don't know if it did or not. Oh yeah, okay. Following through with the previous, I'm gonna ask you for your help. Please like and subscribe if you have the oomph in you to please share. Until then, I will see you on the next one. Okay. Bye for now.